Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to the very center of Moscow. Now I thought I'd show you something super interesting. It's actually a high-speed train that's being built right now here in Russia. It's right behind me. We're actually going to go check out a couple of different trains, but the one we want to see is this white one right here. At the moment they've actually got a big event going on about the future of Moscow transport. It's called Moscow 2030, and they've got a series of different trains right out the front of the exhibition hall, and there's even an electric bus which we'll check out as well. There's a Moscow metro train. This is one of the suburban trains, and then what we want to go see is the Bely Krechet, or white Gyrfalcon. Now I'm getting that name completely wrong. However, we're going to go on inside and have a look as close as we can. This event's been going on for about 2 months now, and it ends in a couple of days. So a lot of people are getting their last chance walk around done, and there's a little bit of a line today to get in. It's really not that long today. This is a school day. It is a working day in Moscow. And the problem you've got is in a city with 15 million people, there's going to be lots of people who still want to come to these types of events and come on inside just like me. So I'll line up just like everybody else and we'll get up close with these trains. If you're wondering where I am in Moscow, I am literally in the absolute center of the city. I've just passed the security, and then we're actually on top of a Hotniriad shopping center. There is an underground shopping center built underneath this square area right here. And then you can see off in the distance the Kremlin, and then Alexander Garden would be just behind the fountains off in the distance. And then this is Manege exhibition hall, and they have different events year-round here. Right now this transport event's going on. I did just notice there's a second line, perhaps that's why it's taken a few minutes longer to get in. But they've got one of the brand new electric buses that are actually currently in operation here in Moscow. And then this is the brand new Moscow 2024 metro train, which is also in operation in Moscow right now. And then this is the newest electric suburban train, and this is actually the train that I took to get to Moscow today, or at least part the way here, and then I changed to the metro. And I think on the front it actually has the D4 number on there. Right, that's the train that I actually took from my station where I live, mostly into Moscow, and then I changed over a few stops. And this is called the Volga 4.0, which lines up with the fact that it's on the D4 line in Moscow as well. And then this is the white Falcon, and this just arrived here recently, and they just put it here essentially on the last week of the exhibition. And I think lots of people are quite curious to see this, because this is going to be the new replacement of the high-speed train that runs from Moscow to St. Petersburg. If you are wondering about the Moscow 2030 Expo that's going on all around the city, this particular one about transport, I've already made a video here, so you might want to check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description of the video, and it will be pretty interesting, I think, to see the inside part of this expo. And then what we're going to cover in this video is just the trains that are outside right here. I'm here on Friday afternoon, and this is actually going to end on Sunday evening, and that's why there's actually quite a line to get in. What they do, they limit how many people come through the security at one time. So letting one line through, and they're letting the next line through, just so it doesn't get too crowded inside. Everybody's very patient, so it's not really too much of a problem. In a few minutes you're inside. It's completely free to attend this, and a lot of people are trying to make sure they see it before it disappears on Sunday night. There isn't actually a line to sit in the driver's seat. However, this gentleman's been very kind, because a lot of people aren't actually coming over to see this train, because I think a lot of people actually don't know what it is. And they've set up a mock of the driver's cabin right here with all the touch screens, and it's showing some of the features of what the train will be. Now, I'm sure it'll be slightly different. However, this is the train seat, and there's actually a heads-up display on the screen as well of the actual white Falcon flapping its wings as it flies from Moscow to St. Petersburg. And it's showing some of the telemetry. Of course, it'll be a little bit different. However, this is how modern the newest train is going to look. There is actually some statistics here up on the wall. So the expected implementation of the train will be in 2028. It's going to hold 454 passengers. And the trip from Moscow to St. Petersburg will take 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the distance is 679 kilometers. And maximum speed, 400 kilometers per hour. Then also it says a few of the stops that it's going to take along the way. And 40 million people will have better access to trains from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Wow. What they've actually done is they built a mock of the cabin and what it'll look like if you're going to take this train. Now, the train that currently runs on the route from Moscow to St. Petersburg is called the Sapsan. And this will be the white Falcon. Have a look at how nice these chairs are. And that forward and backward configuration. So they've got folding chairs. There's USB sockets, tables. I imagine these will be TVs to watch movies of some kind. Actually, they've got a video showing people having a meal on the tables. Very nice indeed. Obviously, in reality, there would be seats on both sides of the train. So they've actually just kept some not here so that we can walk through and feel what this train will look like. These reclining seats are super nice. Now, I've actually not been on the train to St. Petersburg before, but it makes me want to go on it now to see what it will be like when they implement this eventually. And they've got the more traditional seats here in this two-seat configuration. Now, when you go on a train, I always like to ride forwards. And there's of course some here where the seats are backwards and facing the other way. So, are you comfortable going backwards at 400 kilometers an hour? Someone needs to let me know in the comments. I wonder how it feels going this fast. So there would be, I would imagine, either 4-seat configuration or 3 seats. And they've just got this mock walkway right here. So you can get a feel for how modern it will be. Very nice, the colors, this cream finish, and all the lighting inside. And lots of people, just like me, want to see what a train of the future will look like. And this is only a couple of years away. We're literally a few years away from this being implemented. And once this goes into operation, it's going to halve the travel time from Moscow to St. Petersburg. So rather than 4.5 hours, 2.5 hours. That's just amazing. They've even built a toilet to show us what it would look like as well, and how modern the toilets will look like on these trains. Looks like they just built this from things from the local hardware store. I'm sure there's a lot of technology going into the toilets. However, this is a mock of how it will look, but these are the seats that they will use, and how comfy it looks and feels walking through it. Very nice. These big headrests. And I would imagine the seats recline a little bit as well. Super nice. As we're all looking through the train and walking through the cabin itself, it's quite surreal when you look out the window and you see the traffic going by on the main road in Moscow. It's like we're actually moving on the train, but just the cars going by and we're standing completely still. It's really quite a weird feeling when you're doing this walkthrough. This actual train, or at least the mock of the train, only came here about 4 days ago or 5 days ago, right at the end of the Expo. And a couple of days from now, this will all be packed up and taken away. And then everybody will have to catch the normal train rather than getting to walk through this. what's super interesting and a little bit strange for me is I caught this train this morning coming to Moscow, and this is a current train in operation. However, depending on where a lot of people live in Russia, they perhaps haven't seen this train or haven't been on it or haven't experienced it. But literally, I posted a photo today of this on my Telegram channel, and you can see the interest and all the people that are coming to look at this closely and wanting to sit in the seats and feel how comfy it is. There is actually a chance to come inside the cabin, and of course all the kids want to do that and sit on the seat and play with all the buttons and handles. Now the only thing is the line is quite long to do that, so I'm going to forego that for this video. And this is exactly the train that's running on the D4 line here in Moscow. However, they're promoting to everybody who's coming to this event to understand what the new modern trains will look like. And the one thing they're talking about is the width of the doors. So it's designed to carry more people more often and further. And this is the line to go and see the driver's room or chair. I'm not too sure what they call it. They've also got a couple of the electric bikes here, so you can actually bring your bikes on the train. Interestingly, depending on when you catch the train, you have to buy a ticket for your bike if you want to ride this train. There is no fee for it. However, you still have to get a ticket so they can account for people that are using bikes on trains. And I was hoping it wouldn't be as crowded, but of course today it is, being that it's the last couple of days. I was trying my best to come a little bit earlier today to see this. Perhaps I should just ride this home and make a video on the train going home rather than being in this static one right here. So there's a few pretty cool features. If you miss out on a seat, there's actually a rest right here. It's got the 220 socket, so you can plug in. And then if we can try to get up close with the seats, let's walk around, see if we can show the actual seats a little bit closer. Or perhaps this one right here, where these young guys are gonna stand. So they actually have USB and Type-C charging right there. So you can actually charge with both types of cable. And there's even wireless charging on the countertop right here. And when I came to Moscow this morning, I actually sat my phone there for the trip to charge my phone up. And then when it's in normal operation, there would actually be the routes right here and telling you the inside and outside temperature, the time to the next station. So it's very smart and intuitive. I like this purple color. I was so happy when I saw this train this morning when I was going to get on it to ride it into Moscow. Yeah, very, very nice. So if you want to see the long version of this video of the train ride that I took for the entire trip along the D4 line, click the link and you can check that out right after this video. From anybody watching who's not in Russia or not in Moscow, this is what one of the new modern Moscow metro trains looks like. And this is literally exactly the train that you can ride on some of the different lines in Moscow right now. They've actually got different versions of this train. This is the 2024 version. You can see why it's empty, because we could literally go to the nearest station and jump on this train. And a very nice design. So it's not the entire train. There's a mirror here that confuses you a little and lets you think you're walking all the way to the back. So when you're actually riding the train in normal service, they'd have the next station that would come on this digital screen right here. So of course during this setup, it doesn't have it displayed. And then you'll see here on the seat posts or the handles, there's the charging right there again, USB and Type-C. So you literally just need your cable, plug it in. I don't think it slows down the train in any way. And then these nice, comfy, padded seats. Now, interestingly, when these came into operation, they have a voting option for you to choose what color this train interior would look like. And the government go on public opinion rather than a designer's decision. And they leave it up to the public to choose what color this train will eventually be. And this cream kind of beige looking, I think it looks very nice. There really is lots and lots of people coming in. I realize now that it's a little bit later than I thought it was on my watch. So a lot of people, particularly with kids and families, will have finished school now, perhaps come straight into Moscow, being that it's Friday evening. And lots of people want to come to this particular exhibit purely because of the fact that it's going to end in a couple of days' time. So lots of people have a lot of curiosity about the new modern transport that's here in Moscow. One difference this train has over the other metro trains that are still in operation, so everything predating the 2024 model, is these actually have 4 doors to get on and off. And the more regular metro train would be 3 doors. There'll be one at either end and one in the middle. And they've now got 4 doors. And they say that it's 32% wider, the actual door to get on and off. One thing that I find very fascinating is how everybody is so excited to get up close with these different trains and sit in the seats and then get in the cabins. And then there's actually a driver from the Moscow Railways actually showing people the operation and the controls. And quite literally, the Volga 4 on this side, I rode today to come here. And then this train, I didn't ride today. I did come on the metro though. But this train is in current operation on the Moscow Metro, which would be literally about 50 meters below where I'm standing right now. And then this is the electric bus that is also currently in operation in Moscow and Moscow region. And if we literally walked across the street from here, we would be able to see one of these passing by within a few minutes or so. They're not on every route. There is around about 1,500 of these in operation in Moscow at the moment. And the current answer to a question is about how many are in operation, and the fact that this is the largest electric bus system in the world. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that is, because there'll be always someone in the comments telling me another city has more of these than what's here in Moscow. So if anybody is from another country or another city and they have electric buses, please let me know. Is there more than 1,500 of them operating on the routes where you live? We'll go for a bit of a walk around the inside of the bus. So these are actually made by KAMAZ, which is a very well-known truck and heavy vehicle manufacturer here in Russia. So these are completely produced locally. And these are literally on routes right across the road from where I'm standing here. And this bus is a completely operational bus on the normal Moscow transport system. So you'd be able to walk across the road, wait for one to pull up, and then get on board. Now there is a few maybe unique features, or maybe not, depending on where you live. This has actually got the kneeling option right here. And they actually have the ramp. Now this gentleman is going to demonstrate it for us as well, where it flips over and then it actually, I was thinking it was going to do something else fancy. However, I think he can indicate to the driver or that it's actually in use or not in use. Thank you so much. So yeah, they have a ramp to get on and off by the prams and wheelchairs. And then also the bus has the option to kneel or lean over via the air bags in the wheels and suspension. So the actual ramp can get closer to the ground physically as well, which is really handy. And then this area here for prams and even bicycles as well. And then they've got the call button for the driver, and then USB and Type-C plugs. Now, a few minutes ago the bus was absolutely full, and now I'm the only one on it for a few minutes. So there is a few different ways they've got the seating configured as well. So they've got these lower seats, which are designed for elderly people or people with special needs. So it's a little bit easier for them to sit on the bus rather than getting on these higher seats. These are completely climate controlled as well, so in winter and summer they're very nice and either hot or cold, which is very critical. Now my favorite seat is this one right here, because you got the raised view out the windows and you can have a nice view of Moscow, and then you can plug your sockets right in right here as well. It is a very nice bus. So they've got the actual call buttons all over, and they've even got braille on them as well. Now these might not be groundbreaking features. However, on this modern electric bus, this is the current newest features that they've got. And if you're getting on through the back seat or back door, you don't have to get on at the driver's door. You can get on any door. There's the payment option here. So you could take credit card or a travel card. So you can just tap on and tap off as you take your ride. Very nice bus. I'm always very fascinated these young volunteers here who are showing and demonstrating the bus to everybody, and their eagerness to show some of the features of the buses. Not everybody catches buses in Moscow. Not everybody uses public transport. People have cars here. However, if you've not been on one before and you've not perhaps experienced them, you've just seen them driving by, it's really nice to be pointed out some of the unique things on these modern buses. The driver's cabin is completely enclosed. You pretty much don't have any contact with the driver. You get on yourself, you tap your card to get on the bus, and then you can get on from all three doors, and then the driver will just continue the route. There is actually the capacities right here, so sitting and standing. So it really is not too different. However, they've still got capacity requirements for the buses. But it's really fun to see everybody getting a chance to experience it and sit in here and understand what modern transport will be like in Moscow in the near future. If you're curious about how they charge these, so they're actually electric buses, and then they have batteries in the roof cell of the bus. And then they have what's called a pantograph, which is a raising steel bar that comes out of the roof, and then it attaches to a ground station that they can then charge the bus. And all over Moscow they've got these charging stations set up, and then of course when the bus goes to the end of the route or the end of the day, it can go to the depot and charge there as well. However, what they've done around different points of Moscow and Moscow region, as far as where I live, they've actually got these mid-journey charging points. So before the next route, the driver can pull in, do a quick 15 or 30-minute charge, and then go about his route, which is very nice. You don't have to go back to the depot and change buses or get a new one. They can continue on during the day in their normal shift. The main reason behind me making this video was really to show you the new high-speed train between Moscow and St. Petersburg, but we can get a chance to go and see all of the new modern transport here in Moscow. Do you have a favorite? Do you like the bus? Do you like the metro trains? This is the Moscow 2024. Maybe you like this electric train or traditional suburban train. This is the D4, which so happens to be the same line that I can catch home to my home station. It's really interesting when you meet somebody and talk about this train. They know where I live because I tell them it's the last station on the line. Maybe you like the suburban train. These are very nice and they're very quiet, very comfy, and super easy to ride on. And then just have a look at this raked nose on the front of the train. It's like one of those Japanese bullet trains. I'm sure it's got some kind of aerodynamic feature to it. You can actually see the Falcon designed onto the front. You can see the eye and the face right there. So they're really playing with that white Falcon branding. The Gyrfalcon. Anybody's heard of that Falcon before I did? Let me know. Now they call it the GRT Falcon. I didn't really realize that. I even looked it up and read about it because of the relevance to this train. Now, we might try to go back in one more time. I think the line is getting longer to see this. So let's see if we can get another look. One thing I will say as I walk around is it has that new car smell. You know when you open the car door for the first time and you smell the interior? It has that new car smell that's very prevalent when you come in here. You didn't notice it in the other trains, but definitely in this one you can notice it and definitely smell it and feel it. What a nice train. The one thing that's probably the hardest thing to comprehend is they're going to have this in operation 3 years from now. Literally 3 years from today. We hopefully can take this 2-hour, 15-minute ride from Moscow to St. Petersburg and enjoy being able to go to St. Petersburg just for a day trip. 3 years from now, that's just amazing. So there was one of the television stations there filming some interviews and asking people's opinion about the train. And the gentleman that works for the TV station actually knew me from my YouTube channel. So if you're watching this video, thanks for saying hello and praising my channel. It's always nice that I can meet some subscribers when I'm out and about in Moscow. Thought I'd take a seat for a few minutes and just relax. Now, I will actually have to catch the metro to get home, and I don't think I'll get lucky catching this particular model because the route that I take, these aren't in service on the line that I use. However, it's just nice to experience the train when it's not moving and you're not in a rush to catch it and get off it. And when you catch the metro normally in Moscow, you really lose perspective of how amazing the metro is and how amazing these trains are that run on this route as quickly as every 90 seconds. So it's nice just to take a minute and take a breath and enjoy the train. I really do hope you've enjoyed this walk around of some of Moscow's most modern transport. Now, 3 out of the 4 of the things that I've walked around are in current operation here in Moscow right now. So you would actually be able to ride the bus, the train, and the metro literally today. But the white Falcon, we've got 3 years to wait. So if you want me to ride that when it comes into operation, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get on there and make a video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, post some comments, let me know how this compares to your transport in your city where you live. Now, of course, this is Moscow. There is a lot more cities in Russia. There is modern transport in other cities. This is not the only place in Russia where they've got fancy electric buses, electric trains. They run throughout all of Russia. So this is not a one-off thing. Of course, they're showing us what the future of transport will be like currently now and only a few years away from now, which is just staggering to think how quick and how efficiently they can improve the transport network here in Russia. Thanks, everybody. If you want to join me over on Telegram, my link is right here. And if you want to see an old video, I'll put a link to another video for you to watch right after this one. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.